Please raise your hands. Don't just mess up. Raise your hands. What are the two ways in which the lysosomes can work? Yeah, Sharan.
Sir, intracellular digestion and
Yes, so that's correct. Intracellular and extracellular. So Nikita, can you please tell me extracellular का example क्या था? Anyone? What was the example of extracellular uh, digestion mechanism by lysosomes? कैसे होता है? Hello.
It destroys the harmful microbes that enters the body.
सर
Okay.
नहीं वो इंट्रासेल्यूलर का है।
Yeah, that is intracellular.
इंट्रासेलुलर का ही बताया मैंने.
Yes. I'm asking what is the extracellular mechanism? What is the example of extracellular mechanism?
एक्रोसोम
Acrosome.
एक्रोसोम
Yes. So yeah, Sharon, please wait. Yeah, Nikita, tell me what is acrosome?
A cap-like structure which is present in human sperm.
Yes, excellent. So that's the correct thing. So the acrosome is kind of modified lysosome in a cell, which actually releases an enzyme जिसका नाम था. What was the name of enzyme जो acrosome release करता है?
हाइड्रो
Hyaluronidase
Yes,
base.
it is hyaluronidase. Okay, because it's
Yes.
digestion typical component called as hyaluronic acid, which is present in an ovum. So that's why the enzyme is named as hyaluronidase, which is released by the acrosome of the sperm. Excellent. You all are actually reading the things. I'm happy. So that's for all about the basically about lysosomes. Then comes the vacuoles, and we have seen that vacuoles have mainly present in a plant cells, but if even they can also present in some other animal cells as well as a normal protozoal cells also. And the function is very well. It's not like a lysosome, sorry, like lysosomes, vacuoles ka function is fixed. It's not like that. Vacuoles can be involved in a storage, it can be involved in excretion and multiple like osmoregulation. There are multiple functions in which vacuoles are involved. Okay, so we had looked about the vacuoles, unka structure kya hota hai, and then mainly the function point of view. After that, in microbodies, we had discussed two important components or types of microbodies. What were they? Can anyone tell me two types of microbodies जो हमने discuss किए थे? Raise your hands, please. Because yeah, apart from Sharon, Nikita, others, कोई है जिसको पता है? What were two types of microbodies जो हमने discuss किए थे? No one? So please read करो. Don't just ignore the things. Keep on reading. तो तुम लोग को याद रहेगा. बाद में एक साथ बहुत piled up हो जाएगा, and then you will not be able to read up things. And this particular chapter, the cell division, and all these chapters are very basic chapters. And ये तुम लोग को like if you are taking biology or any typical biology related field as your career option, then at the end till the end of your life basically these chapters are useful to you, so don't ignore and keep on reading. It is very important things as a foundation of biology. So yeah, tell me Sharon, what are the two types?
सेपेरोसोम एंड पेरोक्सिसोम
Yes, so sorry Anush, so I will ask you the next question. Yeah, so sperosomes and peroxisomes, these are the two important microbodies which are present in a cell. Now, the next questions about the glioxysome. It is very simple and the smaller one which we are discussing, which we have discussed actually. जहाँ पे हमने देखा था कि it is the organelle which is involved in a synthesis of a sugars. So it is a smaller organelle which is generally present in a eukaryotic cell and functions in mainly synthesis of sugars. And then we have started with the very important organelle, that is a mitochondria, which is a powerhouse of the cell. We all know it is a powerhouse of the cell. I had explained you basic structure, and I had also told you why it is called as powerhouse. We all know, yes, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. We all know, we all agree. But क्यों उसे powerhouse बोलते हैं? All that things I had explained you in the last lecture. I hope you remember something like Krebs cycle and
Yes, Krebs cycle, electrotransfer.
yes. So that's all things. So because of these things, because of these two important processes which actually takes place in the mitochondria and gives us an energy in a form of ATP, that is the adenosine triphosphate. Because of all these things, mitochondria is called as a powerhouse of the cell. And then I had given you some work to do. I hope you all have done this.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so there are 5 diagrams which you all were supposed to draw, which includes cell membrane ka, mainly the fluid mosaic model, the bilayer structure, phospholipid bilayer structure. Then the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, glyosomes, and the mitochondria. Okay,
सर
so this,
सर सेल
सेल
वॉल
मेम्ब्रेन का
बोला
नहीं
था.
सेल मेम्ब्रेन का नहीं
का
दिया
नहीं
था.
दिया था.
okay, so if I okay, I think मैंने
नहीं
पांच
सर,
वो
सेल
यस सर,
मेम्ब्रेन
5.
दिया था, ग्लाइऑक्सिजम्स नहीं दिया था, उसके अलावा सेल वॉल दिया था.
ओके नो वरीज. अगर मैंने सेल वॉल दिया था और लाइक just look at the screen now. I think I should have given you cell membrane, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi, glyosomes and mitochondria. But अगर तुम लोगों ने इसमें से कोई मिस किया है, as you are saying, you might have not drawn now cell membrane and glyosomes, whatever. But then note it down right now, and you should draw cell membrane, glyosomes and cell wall also. Okay. So we should not miss any diagram from this chapter because all of them are equally important. Okay. सो इट्स ओके इफ तुम लोगों ने कुछ मिस किया रहेगा या फिर मैंने कुछ ठीक से कन्वे नहीं किया होगा लास्ट लेक्चर में कि क्या ड्रॉ करना है, दैट्स एब्सोल्युटली ओके, नो वरीज. बट इज नोट डाउन नाउ कि हम लोग को क्या करना है. सो योर नेक्स्ट होमवर्क विल कंटेन द थिंग्स व्हिच यू आर नॉट ड्रॉन येट. ओके, सो जिन लोगों ने सेल मेम्ब्रेन ड्रॉ नहीं किया है उनको वो ड्रॉ करना है, जिन लोगों ने सेल वॉल ड्रॉ नहीं किया उनको वो करना है, एंड हु हैव नॉट ड्रॉन दिस पर्टिकुलर ग्लाइऑक्सिजोम्स उनको वो ड्रॉ करना है. I hope this confusion is clear now. So now let's begin with the next lecture. So this is lecture 8 and as I mentioned हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया. तो अभी सब लोगों ने जैसे कि बोला कि you all have drawn the diagram of mitochondria. तो बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर मैंने ऑलरेडी लास्ट लेक्चर में एक्सप्लेन किया था. आई एम जस्ट गोइंग बैक अगेन एक बार टू ब्रश अप द थिंग्स. So mitochondria is something which is involved in aerobic respiration, and that's why that is one of the reason why it is called as a powerhouse, because in aerobic respiration जो energy yield होता है that is 38 ATPs, whereas in case of the anaerobic respiration the energy yield is just 2 ATPs.
यस.
Okay, so this 38 ATPs which are actually generated in case of aerobic respiration, अगर मैं उसमें से 2 कट कर दूं and the remaining 36 ATPs are actually uh, generated or gained in the mitochondria through the process of Krebs cycle and the electron transport system. Okay, so structurally it is a double membrane bound organelle. We all can see there are two membranes. The outer membrane is kind of tight and it is permeable to everything, so it will allow everything. But it's not like that कि जो भी अंदर जा रहा है सबका सब से एकदम organelle के अंदर तक पहुंचेगा. No. So there is another barrier which is called as the inner membrane, which is selectively permeable. So even though जो outer membrane है उसने सबको कुछ provide सबको allow भी किया, the inner membrane will not allow the entry, and that's how the homeostasis is maintained. That's how the organelle actually maintains कि किसको अंदर लेना है किसको नहीं लेना है, and that's how the inner membrane plays a major role. The inner membrane is also shows some finger-like projections which are called as cristae. और ये cristae के ऊपर there are small particular structure जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं oxysomes. Now this oxysome, there are multiple names for these oxysomes जो हम लोग discuss करेंगे in detail, but these are very important component of mitochondria which has three parts. So basically this is a typical structure of oxysomes जहाँ पे you can see a circular or a big head, then there is a pedicel and then the base. So head is also called as the F1 part, pedicel or stalk is called as the F0 part, and the base which actually help in the attachment to the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So this is a typical structure of oxysomes, and hundreds of thousands of oxysomes are present on the inner surface of this typical mitochondria, or we can say cristae, okay, which is a folded version. Now apart from this, जो उसका inner matrix है mitochondria का, that shows presence of different other organelles like circular DNA, RNA, 70s type ribosomes, and some other kind of biomolecules like lipids, proteins, and various enzymes which are required for the Krebs cycle and the electron transport system. So all these things are actually present inside the stroma, and that's how the particular system, a particular organelle favors the process where energy is yielded or energy is generated. Okay, I hope this is clear. So now यहाँ तक तो हमने सब डिस्कस किया था लास्ट टाइम भी, एंड आई होप आई कुड जस्ट रिब्रश इट और री एक्सप्लेन इट वेल अगेन. अब ये उसका आगे का पार्ट क्या है. सो ऑक्सीसोम्स, जिसकी मैंने बोला, इज वन ऑफ द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट ऑफ द माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया, एंड देयर आर न्यूमरस ऑक्सीसोम्स व्हिच आर प्रेजेंट on a cristae or inner membrane. So these oxysomes have multiple names. They are also called as F1, F0 particle, or they are also called as Fernandez-Moron, which is a scientist name, then elementary particles, mitochondrial particles, and so many other names are there. So, but then oxysomes is one of the well accepted and like the name which is used everywhere. So, but even if you get some other names like F1, F0, elementary particle, or anything else, don't get confused. Okay, everything is same. Whatever the name is, the concept remains same. Okay, so these are the particles which are present on the inner surface of a mitochondria. So now you can see this typical sort of busy diagram kind of thing, because the diagram is having so many names. So this is a typical crista, basically एक single crista example दिया है, and you can see there are multiple particles on there. Okay, so these particular particles are involved in a processes of like energy synthesis mainly. So as I mentioned previously also, the particle has a head, the pedicel or a stalk, and the typical base-like structure जहाँ से वो attach होते हैं to the crystal, right? So this typical structure जो उसका है, that is because the function of the like typical oxysomes is in that way. So जो उसका head है, that is actually facing towards the matrix. जो उसका foot है, or let's say pedicel, that is embedded into the inner membrane. Now why? Because this typical oxysome actually acts as a proton pump. Okay, now what is proton pump? Proton matlab kya? H plus particles. Okay, so the H plus ions or the H plus molecules are generally, sorry, the H plus ions generally can be taken from the cytosol or the other like stroma kind of thing, and they can jump from one part to the other part. तो जब भी ये ट्रांसपोर्ट होता है H plus particles का और protons का, there is some kind of a gradient is generated. Okay, so this gradient, like higher concentration and lower concentration difference, then force the synthesis of the ATPs. So that's how the oxysomes are playing a role. I don't want to go in detail because the entire process जो we discussed कर रहा, that comes under your electron transport system. जो मैंने बोला था, this is one of the important stage in a cellular respiration. So it is something very introductory part of the electron transport system. It is a very complex process. There are multiple enzymes, multiple steps are which are involved. जितना easily it's like looking or I'm saying, इतना easily मैं उसको बोल रहा हूँ, उतना easy वो है नहीं. So I hope whenever we are starting with the respiration chapter, I will be in a better position to tell you, and also you will be in a better position to understand the things. But for now, what we need to do, we just need to understand the basic function and the structure of mitochondria. So we understood that there is something called as oxysomes, which have a head, pedicel, and the base. And this kind of structure is actually involved in a ATP synthesis. So the head, which is a main part of this particular oxysomes, have a it acts as an enzyme called as ATP synthase. The name itself, ATP synthase, मतलब उसका काम क्या रहेगा? to synthesis the ATPs. Okay, and the foot or the pedicel kind of structure जो उसका है, that actually acts as a proton channel or a proton pump, जिससे protons can come in and go out. Okay, so because of all these things, the oxysomes are actually work as a proton pump and they help in a ATP synthesis. Okay, and the entire process is, there are different types of electron carriers, there are cytochromes, there are many other molecules and proteins which are involved in this particular process. But right now we don't need to go in that much detail. So what we need to understand, mitochondria is a double membrane bound structure. Outer membrane is highly permeable, inner membrane is a selectively permeable. Inner membrane folds into the finger-like projections, that's called as crista. Crista के ऊपर there are multiple particle-like structure called as oxysomes. Oxysome also known as F1, F0, and there are multiple other names. And the structure of oxysomes involve the head, the pedicel, and the base. The head acts as the ATP synthesis enzyme, and the foot act as, or a base act as a proton pump, and the entire oxysome actually functions for the synthesis of a ATPs, which is the energy currency of the cell. So whenever the cell requires any kind of energy, the ATPs will be synthesized from the glucose. Okay, so this is the typical function of the mitochondria. I hope you understood. If you did not understand anything yet, just let me know, we can discuss it now. If you look at the diagram, very difficult thing. So as I mentioned, it's a double membrane structure, right? So this is the outer membrane and the inner membrane in a form of crista. So you just need to show a folding here, and this is a crista. As we say, membranes are generally made up of what? A bilayer structure. So even here, the membrane is a protein lipid made up of the proteins and lipid, and the lipid is in a form of the bilayer. That is a phospholipid bilayer structure. Then there are different enzymes which are involved in the respiration, or we can say synthesis of different components, like Krebs cycle के लिए involved होते हैं, ATS के लिए involved होते हैं, all that things. जो ये बीच में space दिख रहा है, that is nothing but the periplasmic space or the intermembrane space basically. Okay, so this is a space जहाँ पे one important reaction takes place. ये मैंने बोला था last time. What was that reaction? Can anyone tell me the name of the reaction?
Electron transfer reaction.
No, not in a periplasmic space. What was the reaction or a perimitochondrial space? क्या reaction होता है?
Acetylation of pyruvate.
Yes, that's absolutely correct answer. So acetylation of pyruvate, this is a reaction which actually takes place here. Now why this reaction takes place? Because जो pyruvate है, which actually is synthesized from a glucose, is synthesized in cytosol, or pyruvate itself cannot directly enter into the mitochondria. तो pyruvate को हम लोग convert करते हैं some other components में, so that it can enter into the mitochondria, or this conversion का जो step है, that typically takes place in this typical perimitochondrial space. I hope this is clear, and this is the overall function of your mitochondria. So if you are having any questions, any doubts with respect to mitochondria, we can discuss right now. Yes, no, or should I just go to the next organelle? हेलो, तुम लोग को समझा है या नहीं समझा है? जस्ट यस और नो एटलीस्ट.
Yes, sir.
सर इसका पीछे का स्लाइड दिखाओ ना.
या जस्ट अ मिनट. या
सर बेस मतलब फुट होता है ना सर?
हाँ,
तो बेस के जगह पे F0 आना चाहिए ना सर? पेडिसल पे
यस एक्चुअली तुम लोग का जो UK there are multiple mistakes. So generally we consider F1, F0, but then again I will check because generally we call it head, stock and the base and the F1, F0. So जो इंटर में जो बेस है उसको हम लोग F0 बोलते हैं, but I don't know इन लोगों ने यहाँ पे पेडिसल को F0 क्यों बोला, but I will again
Yes,
check. Yeah, because even यहाँ पे you can see it's F0 and F1 particle.
yes,
So it may be because of some mistake or printing mistake, but we'll again check it and let you know. Okay.
yes.
Yeah, और कुछ?
No.
Great. So the next important organelle, plastids. I think सब लोगों को plastids पता ही होगा, और अगर plastids नहीं पता रहेगा तो सब लोगों ने chloroplast तो सुना ही रहेगा. One of the very important organelles which is present in all the plants and involved in a process of why chloroplasts are involved. Why chloroplasts are important?
Photosynthesis.
photosynthesis.
So these are the organelles which are mainly involved in a photosynthesis. But not only chloroplast. Chloroplast is one of the type. So the major category of the organelle is a plastid. Okay. So plastids, these are the double membrane organelles. Similar to just the way जैसे माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया में था, उनके पास उनका खुद का DNA है, RNA है and ribosomes है. Okay. They are quite larger in a size and you can even मतलब अगर तुम लोग को I don't know मतलब तुम लोग का अभी जब भी college start होगा, maybe they will show you. So there are some practicals in your biology जहाँ पे they actually show you the typical chloroplast का extraction and there are some kind of demonstration जहाँ पे तुम लोग actual में chloroplast observe कर सकते हो under microscope. So this is something very larger and you can actually observe under microscope. Okay. And now there are multiple types of plastids. It's like depending on उनका function क्या है and what they are doing. So the three important types of a plastids includes leucoplast, chromoplast, and the chloroplast. Okay. So now let's see कि ये हर एक का function क्या है. Okay. So leucoplast and the chromoplast, these are not very detailed kind of like very not very क्या बोलते हैं बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल में स्टडी किए गए काइंड ऑफ ऑर्गेनल्स, बट दे हैव वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फंक्शंस. सो ल्यूकोप्लास्ट का फंक्शन क्या है? दिस इज बेसिकली समथिंग विच इज मेनली इन्वॉल्व इन अ स्टोरेज पर्पज. ओके. सो ल्यूकोप्लास्ट डू नॉट हैव एनी पिगमेंट, बिकॉज जब भी मैं प्लास्टिड्स बोलता हूँ हम लोग के दिमाग में सबसे पहले आता है पिगमेंट, बिकॉज क्लोरोप्लास्ट ग्रीन है बिकॉज उसका क्लोरोफिल है. क्रोमोप्लास्ट समथिंग कंटेन्स डिफरेंट कलर पिगमेंट लाइक रेड होता है, ग्रीन होता है, येलो होता है, different types of pigments can be present. Okay, but leucoplast is one of the plastid which does not contain any pigment. तो उनके पास कोई पिगमेंट नहीं होता है, that's why they also called as colorless organelle basically. Okay, so these are the plastids which do not contain any kind of pigment. They can be of different size and shape depending on कौन से cells के अंदर present है और उनका function क्या है. So as I mentioned just now that the leucoplasts are the plastids which are mainly involved for the storage purpose. They can store different components like proteins, lipids and the carbohydrates. So depending on कि वो कौन से type का components और biomolecule store कर रहे हैं, there are again different types of leucoplasts. So the very important ones are like I have listed here. Amyloplast. The name amyloplast. Amylo मतलब क्या? Amyl जब भी आता है something related to starch or the carbohydrates. So these are the leucoplasts which are involved in a storage of starch. Then there is something called as elioplast. Elioplast is something which is actually involved in the storage of lipids or the oils. Okay, so these are the leucoplasts which are involved in a storage of lipids or the oil. And the very important one and the last category is the aleuroplast. Aleuroplasts are the leucoplasts which are involved in the synthesis of protein. Please note it down or highlight or like just put it in your mind, these three important types, because there are many MCQs ये लोग पूछते हैं based on this typical names कि elioplast का function क्या है, amylo का function क्या है, aluro का function क्या है. All these things you will have to understand, like you will get to know आगे भी कि इसका टिपिकल फंक्शन क्या है, बट देन ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कौन सा ल्यूकोप्लास्ट इज इन्वॉल्व फॉर स्टोरेज ऑफ फॉर। अगर तुमने थोड़ा लाइक लॉजिकली भी सोचा, एज आई मेंशन अमाइलो मतलब स्टार्च, एल्यूरो इज बेसिकली द नेम इज काइंड ऑफ टेकन फ्रॉम द वर्ड एल्यूरॉन। एल्यूरॉन इज अ protein which is present in a seeds, monocotyledon basically, and which is a name of protein, and that's why the name is given alluroplast. Elio, something related to fats and liquids. So try to understand the basics so that you can apply the logic. Okay, I hope you understood what is leucoplasts and their function. Then comes the word chromoplast, or the second important types of the typical plastids. So the word chromo matlab color. So the plastids or the organelles which store colors. So these are the organelles or the plastids which actually involved in a storage of different kinds of pigments. So हम लोग देखते हैं carrot is kind of orange-ish in a color, sunflower is a red, yellow in color, marigold is have different colors. There are different flowers, roses are there, multiple different flowers and different colors are there. Why these colors are there? Because there are different organelles like chromoplasts which are present, which actually stores the pigments. Okay, so these are the pigments or the coloring agents we can say for a plant are responsible for different colors which we can see in the plants and the flowers and the fruits. Okay, so there are different types of pigments like carotene. Carotene is something which gives the orange red color to the flowers and the fruits. Xanthophylls is something which gives colors like yellow to the fruits and even the flowers. So depending on कौन सा pigment present in a typical plastid, the color will be decided. Okay, so based on this, there can be red, yellow, orange, and multiple other shades of the typical colors which can be imparted to the flowers and the fruits in a typical plant. Okay, so the bottom line over here is like basically chromoplast stores the pigment which imparts the color to the flowers and the fruits of the typical plant. Okay, but the one important concept over here is like none of this typical chromoplast or a leucoplast is involved in a or it contains a photosynthetic apparatus. As I mentioned, there is no photosynthetic apparatus. What is photosynthetic apparatus? The typical assembly which is involved in a process of photosynthesis. अगर इनके पास वो assembly ही नहीं है, तो definitely they will not be involved in a process of photosynthesis. However, it was reported that the some kind of color pigments like xanthophylls and carotenoids and all are actually involved in a are actually act as an accessory kind of pigment. So directly, even though they are not involved in a photosynthesis, indirectly somehow they could just support the process. Okay, but these two important organelles are not really involved in a photosynthesis. So photosynthesis में क्या involved होता है? Chloroplast. So that's the next important and I think the most studied kind of organelle in a plant. Chloroplast जो हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे. Before that, just because यहाँ पे name आया है, this typical carotene and the xanthophyll, they actually come under the category carotenoids. Okay, so these are the pigments which actually provides us the antioxidant properties. Please note it down if you don't know. Antioxidant properties are provided by these carotenes and xanthophylls, and these are very important, and that's why generally doctors suggest you to eat the we can say uh, what is carrots and the citrus fruits and all like oranges and all, because they contain these typical antioxidants which are good for our health. Okay, so that's all about the leucoplast and the chromoplast. If you are having any doubts regarding this, we can discuss, or we can start with the important one, that is the chloroplast. When I say important one, that doesn't mean that बाकी कोई important नहीं है, but this is something very in depth we need to study. So अगर अभी तक कुछ doubts है, please explain. Please ask me. I can then explain you the whatever doubts you have. Okay, so I think there are no doubts because there is nothing very difficult thing as such in a chloroplast and sorry, in a chromoplast and a leucoplast. So now let's begin with the chloroplast, which is generally present in a plant cell. I think almost all the plant cells, except some parasitic plants like Cuscuta, which is a parasitic plant. Almost all the plants contains this typical chloroplasts which are involved in the process of photosynthesis. They are called as a site for photosynthesis, जहाँ पे ये typical important process होता है ऐसा organ है. That's why the site for photosynthesis is chloroplast. Okay, so they are present in plant cell, in the algal cells, and also in case of some protists like a protozoan, which includes euglena. Okay, though it doesn't contain, like it's not like it was completely autotrophic hai, but then still Euglena does contain some kind of chlorophyll and all, and that's why, sorry, chloroplast, and that's why it can perform the process of photosynthesis as well. Okay, so depending on ये कौन से cells में present है, इनका size, इनका number, इनका shape can be vary. Okay, so it is the size, shape, and number is not a fixed thing, but it's kind of variable things. Okay, and in case of plant, they are mainly found abundantly in a green regions where generally it is called as the mesophyll of a leaf. So what is mesophyll? Mesophyll is a typical part, a typical cells in a plant जो प्रेजेंट होते हैं इन अ लीफ रीजन. ओके, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस टिपिकल मेसोफिल जहाँ पे बहुत सारा क्लोरोप्लास्ट आर प्रेजेंट, द लीव्स आर एक्चुअली लाइक आप बोलते हैं ना बेटर साइट फॉर फोटोसिंथेसिस बिकॉज दे आर आल्सो एक्सपोज टू द सनलाइट जिसके मदद से द प्रोसेस टेक प्लेस, and that's kind of favorable position, or we can say region, for this particular organelles. Okay, and if I go shape wise, as I mentioned already, बहुत सारा variable shapes present है, but a very क्या बोलते हैं उसको, like a typical lens like structure, okay, is present, but it can also be oval, spherical, discoidal, or even ribbon like. So oval, spherical, discoidal, I think almost सब plants में होते हैं, but then ribbon like is something very special kind of type, and it is present in a Spirogyra. What is Spirogyra? Can anyone tell me? ये क्या कौन से कैटेगरी में जाता है?
फ्रैगमेंटेशन कर.
Yeah.
Yes,
It is,
fragmentation करता है.
yeah, so it is basically, but then what? It is a plant, it is algae, it is a protist, क्या है? Yeah? I did not get your answer. Please can you repeat? क्या बोला तुमने? Spirogyra is actually is a algae. It's not typical plant, but is a algae which performs the process of photosynthesis. Okay, as you mentioned very clearly, उसका structure is like we call it fragmented kind of structure. So you mentioned very correctly that the process of fragmentation and all, that's absolutely correct, but this is an algae. Okay, now depending on कि कितने सारे क्लोरोप्लास्ट प्रेजेंट है एंड ऑल, और डिपेंडिंग ऑन कि कौन सा सेल है, एज आई मेंशन उनका नंबर भी वेरी होता है. सो इट कैन बी लाइक अ टिपिकल सेल कैन कंटेन एज लेस एज only one chloroplast, which is generally in the case of Chlamydomonas, which is again algae. They have a single large chloroplast which is present, and which can actually involve in different functions. As apart from that, if we see a normal mesophyll cells, they contain 20 to 40 chloroplasts per cell. So now depending on कि वो कौन से plants में present है, कौन से region में present है, the number can vary, but it can be in a range of 20 to 40. Okay. Now, like when I say different region, what do I mean? अगर वो हम लोग के जैसे normal region में present है, तो you can see the plants are more greener and greener. So definitely they have more number of chloroplants. But if you go to a desert area like Rajasthan, जहाँ पे different like plants are present. What is the example? Like Opuntia, yeah, cactus. Cactus is the example. Very good example. So they don't have a very large leaves and all. They have a very condensed kind of structure, so that there will be less amount of water loss. There will not be more amount of water loss. So in order to avoid the water loss from the cells, this typical plants actually have a typical different structure. तो वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा plants को leaves नहीं होते हैं, very small leaves are there, they are thorny or they have some kind of spines on their structure. So all these structures are there in order to avoid the transpiration, so that the plant can have enough amount of water in the cell. And in such cells, then there are very less amount of chlorophyll. So that's what I mean to say when I say the number varies with the region as well. Okay. Now, very important point. Just chloroplast is not something की सब function करता है. There is something which is present in a chloroplast that is actually something that supports the process of photosynthesis. And that's something जो मैं अभी तक बोल रहा हूँ, that is nothing but the green colored pigment called as chlorophyll. Okay, so this is a important photosynthetic pigment which is present in almost all the plants जो कि photosynthesis carry out करते हैं. Okay, there are different types of chlorophyll actually, but they have not mentioned it in here. We will discuss that in your chapter photosynthesis. I hope किसी ने I don't know किसी ने start किया है क्या chapter photosynthesis?
No.
No, sir.
Yeah. So whenever we will be studying that typical chapter जहाँ पे हम लोग सिर्फ focus करेंगे on chloroplast and on the process of photosynthesis, we will get more information about the chlorophyll and its types. But there are different types. But then chlorophyll A is one of the most abundant type of chlorophyll that is involved in a process of photosynthesis. Apart from chlorophyll A, there are chlorophyll B, C, D, E, and all. There are multiple types. Okay, but then chlorophyll A is one of the very important type. Please note it down. Okay. Now, apart from this typical pigment, this chloroplast also contains some kind of enzymes, some kind of biomolecules which are required for the process of photosynthesis, which is nothing but synthesis of sugar from the inorganic material like carbon dioxide and water. So what is photosynthesis? It is a anabolic process where complex sugars are synthesized from a simple inorganic raw material like water and carbon dioxide. Okay, we will, as I mentioned, we will be discussing about this in detail. जब भी तुम लोग तुम्हारा photosynthesis chapter start करोगे, there are multiple steps involved and how actually the sugars are synthesized by this process. It's not very simple one line statement. So we will get to know about these things when we go step by step in detail about this typical process. Okay. Now that's all about the introductory part. और कहाँ पे present है, कितना present है, structure क्या है, number क्या है, and all. But now let's come towards the typical structure of this chloroplast. कि वो कैसे दिखता है, कैसे arrange है, और what are different components which are present within a typical chloroplast. So as I already had mentioned, it is a double membrane bound organelle. तो इसके पास भी माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया के जैसे डबल मेम्ब्रेन होता है. Okay. Again, the outer membrane is kind of more permeable. The inner membrane is kind of less permeable. And inside the inner membrane, जो भी cavity-like structure है, cavity is like the open space we can say. It actually filled with the matrix-like substance, which is called as a stroma. So the matrix of a typical chloroplast is called a stroma. Okay, and then within this typical cavity or within this typical chloroplast structure, there are multiple small membrane bound sacs. Okay, membrane bound sacs, and these typical membrane bound sacs are called as thylakoids. Okay, and then जैसे कि ये thylakoids synthesized होते हैं, they can stack over one another. वो एक के ऊपर एक ऐसे खुद को organize करते हैं, which forms a typical pillar-like structure called as a granum. So तुम लोग को ये अगर दिख रहा रहेगा, these typical structures are called as granum. So there are granum is a singular word. You can, and in plurals we call it as a grana. So you can see multiple granas which are present inside the chloroplast. Okay. Now these granas are actually connected to each other by a typical structure called as a stroma lamellae. Okay, stroma lamellae. So you can see ये grana से इस granum तक there is a connection, यहाँ से यहाँ तक there is a connection, and so on. So this typical structure which actually connect one granum to the next granum is called as a stroma lamellae. Okay, or an intergrana lamellae. So, but then in your book they have used the word stroma lamellae. So I am following the single word. Okay, so it is a stroma lamellae which is actually connecting the two granums. Apart from this, there are multiple other enzymes which are present in this typical stroma and in this particular grana. Okay, so these particular enzymes are present which actually helps in the process of photosynthesis. As I mentioned, it is not a very single one line process to talk about, very detailed process. That's why तुम लोग को एक separate chapter दिया गया है. But I'm just giving you a hint here. So when I say photosynthesis, there are two important steps which are involved, called as a light reaction and the dark reaction. Okay, so light reaction is a part of photosynthesis which actually takes place in a grana. So inside the thylakoid sacs, ये particular reaction takes place, ये particular reaction होता है, and it requires the pigment chlorophyll and the sunlight, and that's why it is called as a light reaction. The second important reaction in the photosynthesis is called as a dark reaction, or let's say डार्क रिएक्शन इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि ये सिर्फ डार्क में होता है या फिर रात को होता है. डार्क रिएक्शन का मतलब है दिस टिपिकल रिएक्शन डज नॉट रिक्वायर अ सनलाइट. So that's why it is also called as a light independent phase. So light reaction को हम लोग बोलते हैं light dependent phase of photosynthesis and dark reaction को हम लोग बोलते हैं light independent phase of photosynthesis. Light reaction takes place in a grana, dark reaction takes place in a stroma. Okay, which is a matrix-like structure. Now, apart from this typical grana and जो stroma है, it also contains some other kind of materials like a DNA. So the DNA of chloroplast is also a circular double-stranded DNA, जैसे कि mitochondria में था, in a similar way. And it also contains the ribosomes, which are again a 70S type of ribosome. But what is the type of ribosomes which are present in eukaryotes? Ribosomes का कौन सा type is present in a eukaryote?
ATS.
Yes, so ATS is a present in eukaryotes, but then mitochondria and chloroplasts, even though they are a eukaryotic organelles, they show presence of this typical 70S type of ribosomes. Okay, so the same thing जो मैंने अभी discuss किया about the structure is written on this typical slide, and I think you just need to go through once. So you can just read it and then we can move. So I can read it for you again. So it is the inner membrane of a double-walled chloroplast is less permeable. Okay. The inside cavity membrane, there is another membranous stacks called as thylakoids. Thylakoids are arranged in a form of stacks called grana. Singular is a granum. Granums are connected to each other by means of stroma lamellae. The space around the thylakoid, so the cavity, is filled with the stroma, the nitrous-like substance. The stroma is also contains different enzymes for photosynthesis, and it shows presence of DNA and the ribosome. Okay, so that's why. But then, as I mentioned, key mitochondria and the chloroplast are eukaryotic systems, and then still they contain something जो कि prokaryotic characteristic features है, like the circular DNA and the 70S type of ribosome. So why? I think ये same हम लोगों ने पहले भी एक बार discuss किया था. I'm just going back and trying to explain it again in a simple version. So this is something because of the evolution. Okay, so both mitochondria and the chloroplasts as a double membrane organelles, they have their own DNA and ribosomes. And just because they have their own DNA and ribosomes, they can actually replicate or duplicate by their own. And that's why these typical organelles are called as semi-autonomous self-replicating organelles. Please note it down. Semi-autonomous self-replicating organelles. Semi-autonomous मतलब few things they can do by their own, but for few things they still are dependent on the nuclear DNA जहाँ से उनको control होता है. And self-replicating because they can replicate by their own. They are not really dependent on any other system or any other process for replication. तो वो खुद को replicate कर सकते हैं. That's why they are called as semi-autonomous and self-replicating. Okay. Now, why they have a typical this typical 70s and what we can say reservoir DNA. तो ऐसा क्यों है? So it is considered that the primitive eukaryotic cells had engulfed an aerobic non-photosynthetic prokaryotic cell. तो इन्होंने एक्चुअली कुछ तो एरोबिक वेक्टर को engulf किया रहेगा. जब भी वो पर्टिकुलर सेल, एरोबिक सेल, प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल ने एंटर किया होगा इन यूकैरियोटिक सेल, there must have been some kind of interaction, and they found that the interaction is a symbiotic interaction. Now what is symbiotic interaction? Symbiotic मतलब तू भी खुश मैं भी खुश दोनों हम लोग साथ साथ रहेंगे, kind of relationship. Okay, मतलब they will help each other for some or other purpose and they will get mutually benefited. Okay, or they can stay together without any harm to each other. Okay, that kind of interaction is called as a symbiotic interaction. Okay, and that's why फिर ये जो एरोबिक था एरोबिक प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल जो उन्होंने engulf किया था, that just was present in the eukaryotic cell for years and years and years, and after a particular years, due to evolution, these two cells just got merged into a single cell and it gave rise to the organelle called as a mitochondria. So that's how, and that's why we call it is kind of evolution कि bacteria से आया है mitochondria. Okay, and that's why it contains this typical 70s type of ribosomes and the circular DNA. Now the same thing happened in a case of the photosynthesis process, or let's say chloroplast. So even it was considered that the eukaryotic cell might have engulfed the photosynthetic bacteria or a prokaryote, which again could have established a symbiotic relationship with the eukaryotic cell. फिर वो बहुत साल तक साथ में रहे रहेंगे, and finally they could have just merged and we got the new organelle called as chloroplast. Okay, so that's how. And that's why the typical chloroplast also contain the double-stranded circular DNA and the 70s type of ribosomes, which are a peculiar function for a prokaryotic cell. Okay, and this is the entire story which हम लोग अभी discuss कर रहे हैं, that is actually called as a endosymbiont theory. That is coexistence of the cell within a cell. Okay, so that's why we call that this is the evolution, why we are having mitochondria inside the cell and the chloroplast within a cell. This is something which we have actually obtained from the bacterial origin. So there are multiple proofs. So initially it was just proposed as a theory, but जैसे studies होते गया, research होते गया, we got multiple proofs जहाँ से हम लोग ने actually prove किया कि no, this is actually true. It's not something किसी ने ऐसा मन कहीं कहानी बना दिया and they have just discussing it. No, we do have a proper proofs which actually prove the endosymbiont theory. Okay, is there any doubt regarding this typical concept of endosymbiont theory or any doubts regarding the chloroplast? Did you understand basically? कुछ समझ में आ रहा है या just going bouncer?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. At any point अगर कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, please stop me. Just interrupt and just stop. But just don't talk all together because फिर मुझे समझ में नहीं आता तुम लोग क्या बात कर रहे हो. So you can either raise your hand or you can just unmute yourself and stop if you are not understanding anything or you feel कि no बहुत fast जा रहा है, whatever. It's okay to interrupt and let me know whatever problems you are having. Okay, so I hope you understood the concept of endosymbionts. You understood the entire information about the mitochondria and the chloroplast. Okay, so these are the two important organelles जो हम लोगों ने आज खत्म किए हैं, and then I will just give you a brief about the ribosomes and then we will stop for a day. Okay, so ribosomes, I think now everyone is able to know or understand that ribosomes are called as the protein factories of a cell because they are involved in the process of protein synthesis. Okay, why and how they actually do this particular protein synthesis? that because they actually use typical genetic information and then synthesize a particular protein. So I'm just introducing you to a typical term called as a central dogma. Central dogma is nothing but a kind of universally accepted theory. Okay, that's what a central dogma is. जो कहता है DNA contains a multiple small segments called as gene, and each gene actually encodes for a particular protein. So let's say किसी के पास अभी some person have a within you. Let's take example. अगर तुम लोग का 60 लोग का group है, let's say you are 60 students in a class now. Each one of you looks like having different hair color, different hair pattern. Even though we all have a like basic features are same. सबके पास hair है, सबके पास eyes है, सबके पास nose है, but still we all are like looking different from each other because there is something called as inheritance and variations. We are gaining something from the parents, which is actually getting transferred and all, like family to family it varies and all. There are multiple things are there which actually include in a genetics. Okay, so this entire thing कि हम लोग के पास let's say किसी के पास gene होगा like within a family. Let's say there is a one family, father, mother, they have a two children, one boy, one girl. Okay. Now girl has a curly hair, boy has a straight hair, even though they are a children of a same couple. Okay. Why so? Because during the process of genesis, or let's say inheritance and variation, maybe the gene for curly hair is activated in a girl, but then at the same time the gene for straight hair is activated in a boy. So that there are multiple reasons, multiple things. There is something called as dominance. There is something called as recessive. I don't know. तुम लोगों ने शायद स्कूल में पढ़ा भी रहेगा. Something called as Mendel's law of inheritance and all. The Mendel, the father of genetics. All these things are there. So we will be discussing that in a detail in your chapter genetics. Like not what is the name of the chapter? Yeah, inheritance and variations. That is a chapter in which we will study all these things. But what I want you to understand right now, there is something called as DNA, which is present inside the nucleus. DNA contains multiple small segments called as genes, and each gene is encoding a particular protein. So depending on whatever things in your body, जो भी तुम लोग का typical body feature है, किसी का color, skin color से लेके the eyelashes का typical pattern, eye color, eye का size, let's say अगर male से तो the facial hair का pattern, typical hair growth and all these things are actually controlled by the DNA and the genes. Okay, so this DNA से मैंने बोला कि हर एक जीन एक्चुअली एनकोड्स फॉर अ प्रोटीन. इट मीन्स कि वो जीन से प्रोटीन बनना चाहिए. तो कैसे बनेगी? So this is a typical process called as a transcription by which DNA is actually converted into mRNA. So the process by which DNA is converted into mRNA is called as transcription. और फिर ये जो mRNA होता है, that is actually gives information for synthesis of a particular protein by the process of translation. तो ये जो process of translation है, that will never get complete or that will never happen only अगर ribosomes are not present in a cell. So this is a typical process called a translation, जहाँ पे ribosomes are involved and they contribute towards the synthesis of protein. So this entire process of DNA to RNA to protein is called as a central dogma. इतना समझा or you are just confused now? Any doubts?